A while ago, there was a video featuring a California Highway Patrol officer beating a black woman on the side of the freeway. Now, the video featured a woman by the name of Marlene Pinnock. Apparently, she has a mental disability, and she was on the Santa Monica freeway for some unknown reason when the cop tried to stop her and restrain her. Now, what you're about to see is the video that went viral. It is a graphic video, but I want you guys to watch it for context, and then I'll give you an update on what happened in this story.
Oh my God, he's grab her ass. Oh my God. Stop. And then they say police brutality. Arrest her.
Stop. Oh, he is beating her up, yo.
Gosh, why?
Is that a cop? No, he's just holding her down. He can't. I'm watching this.
All right, so as you can see from the video, the woman was not armed. She was not a threat to the police officer. He started beating her while he was unprovoked. And so this story went to court, and it was a civil rights case that ended with a settlement. So let me tell you the details on that. Apparently, the woman was represented by a lawyer by the name of Harper. Harper actually ended up securing a settlement in which the officer resigned, and the CHP gave her client $1.5 million. Okay, Carrie Harper is the name of the attorney here. Now, the story continues with a lot of drama because it turns out that the lawyer's fees in this case have raised red flags, especially with the judge who made the ruling in this case or who was overlooking the case. So a federal judge overseeing the case has questioned whether Harper's $625,000 fee was excessive given the amount of legal work she did. The judge also raised questions about whether Pinnock, given her mental health history, was competent to agree to her deal with Harper without a conservator present. Okay, so the judge here is Otis D. Wright III, and he grilled Harper about the issue in early March, and when he concluded that she wasn't answering his questions, held her in contempt and sent her to jail for 2 days. So the judge in this case is not messing around.
Yeah.
He thinks that fee is too much, and apparently the lawyer was unwilling to cooperate with him when he was questioning her. But first, let me let you jump in. Tell me what you think about this.
Yeah, so, I mean, I haven't been involved in any large lawsuits. I didn't know about how significant the difference was between the deals in which you give some money up front and then a smaller percentage of the eventual settlement if one comes versus them basically signing on just in the hopes that you'll get a settlement. The percentages they get, though, are insane. And I understand for some super high-profile cases, you might have a team of lawyers, all of whom have very expensive educations they have to pay back. But in her case, that seems like a pretty easy case to win. Maybe I don't know much about law. For him to need such a significant portion of the total return, of the total settlement, it seems to an outsider difficult to understand.
It seems difficult to understand. And so in some cases, a lawyer's fee could be as high as 40% of the settlement or the amount awarded to the plaintiff, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, it was about 40%. So let me break down the numbers for you guys. Let's go to graphic number 19. Harper received $625,000 as part of the settlement, but gave Pinnock $25,000 of that in cash, so Harper's take was ultimately 40%. So that's not really that unusual. But the question is, did the lawyer in this case do enough work to justify that fee? And the judge does not think so. So let me tell you what the judge found. The CHP beating case took less than 3 months to settle. In court, Harper said she didn't do any depositions, didn't do any discovery or evidentiary work on the case, and saw the video on television like many millions of others. She said her client is mentally capable when on medication. So the judge is saying, look, you barely did anything and you are taking a 40% fee. That is ridiculous. And he also had a really big problem with the fact that she was unwilling to answer his questions because he just wanted to dig deeper and see whether or not it makes sense to pay her that amount of money.
Yeah.
And she immediately got defensive, and so that raised some red flags for him. Now, another wrinkle to this story is actually Pinnock's aunt, who kind of testified against the judge in this case, which I thought was interesting. So the attorney Harper, put Pinnock up in a new apartment, paid for new clothes. her food, and her medication, all out of pocket, said the woman's aunt, Brenda Hall Woods. So this case is not a black and white matter. Obviously, there are nuances here that we don't even know the facts of. But it is kind of interesting that this case ends in a settlement, but even with the settlement, there's still so much drama involved.
Well, I mean, I would have to imagine that anytime you have millions of dollars changing hands to someone who previously had almost no money of their own, like somebody's going to come looking for the money. In this case, it's the lawyer, I suppose. I would have normally assumed the aunt would be trying to get a cut of her own. Yeah, I mean, look, the overall good point is that, or the good side of this is that she actually got that much money. I mean, the cop felt so secure in how he behaved on the job that he was willing to beat a woman while being surrounded by traffic in an age in which every single person you see has a high-definition camera on them. And he still felt secure to do that. So the fact that she got the money is the good news. Once it gets into the area of exactly how it's going to end up breaking down, I would like, obviously, for her to get as much of the money as possible, but at least she's getting hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I think that is also a very important part of the story, but another thing to take into consideration is that this attorney successfully got the CHP officer to resign.
That's true.
And that's going to prevent future cases of police brutality with this guy's blood on his hands, right?
True, literally.
And so, exactly. So it makes me good to know that there are good outcomes to it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not enough of an expert to comment as to whether or not 40% is a justifiable fee for this woman.
We'll ask Cenk tomorrow.
We'll ask Cenk tomorrow, and Cenk will probably say no. Cenk will probably say $1.5 million. Are you guys crazy? That's too much money. But nonetheless, it ends with a little bit of justice, and so I think that's the happy note that we can take from the story.